Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on a stack of sources, notes, briefings, even a quiz and glossary that give us a really close look at some huge announcements from Apple.
That's right. What these sources paint is, well, it's a picture of a new era for Apple's software, touching pretty much every platform they have. iOS, watchOS, tvOS, macOS, visionOS, and iPadOS too.
And our job today is to kind of cut through the noise. We're extracting the absolute must-know nuggets, zeroing in specifically on the new capabilities they announced.
Yeah.
And really digging into the detail of what these features actually do, and maybe most importantly, what they mean for you.
Exactly. Think of it as understanding the two giant pillars supporting this whole new structure. First, how intelligence is being woven, throughout the system.
Okay.
And second, a completely fresh approach to design that aims to make everything feel more connected and, well, intuitive.
Okay, let's unpack this then.
So the sources make it really clear there are two massive themes underpinning everything we're going to talk about. The first, and maybe the most talked about, is Apple Intelligence.
Right. Okay, I remember the sources mentioned they took first steps last year with some cool things like writing tools, Genmoji, Image Playground, that visual intelligence stuff. But what's genuinely new? What's the significant leap in Apple Intelligence itself this year?
Well, on one level, they're expanding supported languages, making the core generative models more capable and efficient under the hood. That's ongoing work. But the piece that the sources describe as potentially pretty big, the one that really, changes the game for developers and users, is the new foundation model framework.
A foundation model framework.
Yeah.
Okay, what exactly does that unlock? What kind of detail do the sources give us on its actual capability?
This is key. It essentially opens up direct access for any app, not just Apple's, to tap into the on-device large language model that sits right at the heart of Apple Intelligence. Yeah, the power here is that it's on-device. So it's fast, it's built with privacy as like a core principle from the ground up, and crucially, it works even when you're offline.
Okay, so if I'm a developer, I can now build sophisticated AI features right into my app using Apple's own model without needing complex cloud infrastructure or worrying if the user has a data signal.
Precisely. The sources give some great examples to make this concrete. Think about an app like Kahoot. It can now use this on-device model to whip up a personalized quiz from your notes, maybe for studying, and it does it without needing cloud API calls. So it keeps your data private and actually saves developers money.
Right.
Or another one, All Trails. It could suggest hikes based on just you describing your mood. I want something challenging with great views, even if you're deep in the wilderness with 0 bars. This, the sources say, ignites a whole new wave of intelligent experiences right within the apps you use every day that are both private and work offline.
And that privacy angle seems absolutely central to this whole strategy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The sources really stress something called private cloud compute.
Yes, absolutely. That's highlighted as an extraordinary step forward for privacy. The detail here is pretty significant. It basically extends the privacy protections of your iPhone seamlessly into the cloud when needed. It's designed so that, and this is a direct quote, no one else can access your data, not even Apple.
Wow.
So this architecture allows for more complex, maybe cloud-assisted AI tasks, like accessing up-to-the-minute worldwide knowledge that the on-device model wouldn't have, while still maintaining that incredibly high standard of privacy.
Fascinating stuff. So that's the intelligence piece, really foundational. The other huge theme you mentioned is a completely new design language. The sources are calling this the broadest design update ever.
Yeah.
Something they say only comes along about once per decade, even comparing back to the big shift with iOS 7.
Right. And this new design, it's heavily inspired by the sort of physicality and richness they explored with visionOS. But the goal isn't just, making things look pretty. It's about creating a gorgeous new design that brings joy and delight, making your device feel more personal with a greater focus on your content. And importantly, doing it while still feeling instantly familiar, not like you have to relearn everything.
Okay, and the sources seem to focus on one core element of this new design, something they call liquid glass. What's the detail there?
Yeah, liquid glass. This is where it gets really interesting visually. The detail is specific. It's described as an entirely new expressive material. Think translucent, so you can kind of see through it, but it's incredibly dynamic. It's designed to behave, and this is their phrasing, just like glass in the real world. Its color actually adapts dynamically, it's informed by your content, and it intelligently shifts between light and dark modes or environments. The sources talk about it having these Optical qualities and fluidity they could only really achieve now with the hardware.
So it's not just a static look. It actually behaves. It reacts.
Exactly. It's described as a distinct functional layer that sits above your app. It morphs dynamically. So imagine alerts appearing right from where you tap, not just popping up randomly. Or context menus smoothly expanding into easily scannable lists, or even items in a list dynamically shrinking and sort of elevating as you scroll down, then gracefully returning when you scroll back up.
Oh, wow.
It even apparently beautifully refracts light and reacts to your device's movement with subtle specular highlights, almost like you're looking at a piece of physical polished glass.
That level of dynamism and responsiveness sounds like it would really make the interface feel, well, alive.
That's absolutely the aim, to make purely digital elements feel natural, almost tangible and responsive. And crucially, this isn't just an iPhone thing. This universal design is being applied across all their platforms: iOS, watchOS, tvOS, macOS, visionOS, iPadOS.
All of them.
All of them. The goal is more harmonious experiences as you move between your different Apple products, while still respecting the unique qualities of each platform, of course. Elements are even redesigned, they say, to fit perfectly concentric with the hardware's rounded corners, establishing this greater harmony between software and hardware.
And tying into that harmony idea, they're unifying the version naming system as well.
Correct. Yeah, just another layer of consistency. To reinforce this sort of unified era, all the major OS releases coming this fall, and based on the version number, we assume that's fall 2026, will simply be designated version 26.
Simple enough. Okay, so we've got the big picture. Powerful, private AI woven through everything, and this dynamic, unified design language tying it all together visually. Now let's dig into the details. How do these big ideas translate into concrete new capabilities you'll actually use on each platform? Let's start with iOS 26.
Right. iOS is probably where most people will see the new design front and center first. On the lock screen, elements like the time and your controls are crafted from that liquid glass. Swiping up to unlock has this beautiful, they call it glass edge effect, adding a new sense of responsiveness. App icons get a fresh look too, crafted from this liquid glass material, adapting automatically to dark mode or an all clear style if you prefer. Dynamic wallpapers get enhanced, with the time adapting to the space in the photo, text scaling appropriately, subjects staying in view. And there's a really cool, delightful 3D effect for photos, not just on the lock screen, but within the Photos app itself, powered by some advanced computer vision and the neural engine.
Okay, that sounds visually rich. What about the core things people do? Phone calls, messages, those are central to the iPhone experience. Any new capabilities there?
Absolutely. The phone app itself gets a new unified layout, bringing together favorites, recents, and voicemails more cleanly. And with Apple Intelligence, you get helpful voicemail summaries right there, letting you quickly grasp the important bits without listening to the whole thing.
Oh, that's handy.
But the really standout new capabilities are probably call screening, which silently answers calls from unknown numbers in the background. You can literally read a real-time transcript of what they're saying before deciding whether to pick up.
Wow, no way.
Yeah. And the other one is Hold Assist. This automatically detects when you've been put on hold. You know the music.
Oh, I know the music.
It asks if you want it to wait on hold for you, and then it just notifies you when a live agent finally comes on the line, so you don't have to sit there listening to endless elevator music.
That Hold Assist feature?
Yeah.
That sounds like a genuine lifesaver for anyone who spends any time on customer service calls. Seriously. What about messages? Any big changes there?
Messages gets a whole bundle of updates, yeah.
Yeah.
You can now add backgrounds to shared spaces, like a chat thread that everyone in the conversation sees, making it more personalized. There are now native polls in group chats, which should be useful. And Apple Intelligence can even suggest creating a poll when it detects a topic that might benefit from one, like figuring out dinner plans. You get integrated Apple Cash right there in group chats for super easy money transfers. And finally, a highly requested one, typing indicators for group chats, so you actually know who's actively typing.
Finally.
Exactly. Plus, there's enhanced on-device spam detection and the ability to screen new senders. This gives you more control by moving conversations from unknown numbers into a dedicated, silent area, although time-sensitive messages, like maybe a delivery update, can still come through.
Okay, lots of useful tweaks there.
Yeah.
And the AI features we talked about earlier, they enhance communication here too, right? Like Genmoji and Image Playground.
Definitely. Genmoji gets better. You can now mix any two emoji to create something totally new, or combine emoji with text descriptions for more nuance. Image Playground gives you more fine-grained control, letting you change expressions on people in photos or even adjust hairstyles. Yeah. And it also now supports ChatGPT styles. So you could ask it to create an image in the style of an oil painting or make this look like a realistic photo. But crucially, the sources stress that nothing is shared with ChatGPT without your explicit permission using the specific Image Playground API. Privacy is key.
Good to know. Now, live translation seemed like a big cross-platform capability mentioned in the sources. How does that work?
It is, yeah. Live translation is now deeply integrated into messages, FaceTime, and phone calls, making conversations across language barriers much, much more seamless. And importantly, it runs on those private on-device models we discussed.
Okay.
So in messages, it can automatically translate text as you type. You type in your language, it sends in their preferred language, and instantly translates their response back to you.
Seamless.
In FaceTime, you get translated live captions overlaid on the video. And in actual phone calls, it provides real-time spoken translation, even if the person on the other end doesn't have an iPhone. Developers can also easily tap into this for their own communication apps via a new API.
That's incredibly powerful. What else is new and noteworthy on iOS beyond communication?
Maps get smarter. There's learned preferred routes, where it subtly starts offering routes based on your actual daily routines, and it adapts if your routine changes over time. There's also a new visited places library. Your iPhone can sort of automatically detect places you've been, like restaurants or parks. But crucially, this data is protected with end-to-end encryption, so even Apple can't see your location history.
Privacy again. Good.
Wallet expands car keys support to 13 more brands, making that more widely available. And it adds digital ID with U.S. passport. Now, the detail here is important. This allows for domestic travel at supported TSA checkpoints and for verification in certain apps or in-person situations. It is not a replacement for your physical passport for international travel or all verification needs. Just want to be clear on that.
Right. That's a key distinction.
Boarding passes get refreshed with integrated Find My Bag tracking, which is cool, and shareable status updates. Apple Pay gets options for in-person points redemption or installment plans at checkout. And, powered by Apple Intelligence, Wallet can now identify and summarize order tracking details from beyond just Apple Pay purchases. It scans your emails and looks for carrier details to pull all your incoming deliveries into one handy place.
Oh, that could clean up my inbox. And gaming gets its own dedicated app now.
Yep. A new games app. It acts as a central hub, helps you discover new games, track achievements, see what friends are playing. It also introduces Game Center challenges. These are built on existing leaderboards, letting you turn single-player games they mentioned Steet City or Throne Falls examples into fun competitions with your friends. Adds a bit of a social layer.
Interesting. Okay, let's circle back to visual intelligence. It started with exploring surroundings for accessibility. How is that capability expanding for everyone?
It's expanded significantly, yeah. And the big change is it now works on the iPhone screen itself. The idea is to make common tasks much faster. You can now search and take action across your apps using literally anything you're currently viewing on your screen. You just press the same buttons you'd use for a screenshot. So this means things like seeing a cool lamp in a photo and instantly searching for similar items across your shopping apps, or extracting event details from a website date, time, location, and adding it straight to your calendar with a tap.
Wow, okay.
Or tapping a dedicated Ask button to ask ChatGPT questions about the content right there on your screen without having to copy, paste, switch apps, none of that. Developers can enable search within their apps for this using an API, and this capability also extends to the camera. So you can visually search apps using the iPhone camera for things you spot in the real world, like pointing your camera at that lamp in a cafe and searching for similar ones in an app like, say, Anthropology.
That's a really powerful extension of that visual search idea. Makes the phone feel more connected to the world in your apps. Okay, let's shift gears, or wrists rather, to watchOS 26. Does it get the liquid glass treatment too?
It does, yeah. It brings that expressive material to areas like the Smart Stack, the Photos Face, and Control Center, while generally putting more focus on your content, making things clearer. Intelligence here focuses on a deeper understanding of your daily routines. The Smart Stack's prediction algorithm is improved. It fuses more on-device data now, things like nearby points of interest, your current location, your established routines, even recent activity trends. The goal is to proactively suggest truly useful features exactly when you need them. The sources give examples like having a workout widget ready the moment you arrive at the gym,
Okay.
or maybe getting a helpful backtrack hint if you're hiking off-grid and haven't logged any activity for a while. More context-aware.
Makes sense. Any brand new fitness features powered by this intelligence?
Yeah, a really interesting one called the Workout Buddy. This is powered by Apple Intelligence.
Workout Buddy.
Yeah. It's designed to motivate you by simultaneously gathering your current workout data pace, heart rate, etc., and rapidly analyzing vast amounts of your past fitness history. Things like your typical paces, distances, how often you close your rings, your training load. It uses all that to provide highly personalized, real-time insights and encouragement during your workout.
How does it deliver that encouragement?
This is cool. It uses a brand new dynamic generative voice. This voice was built from analyzing actual fitness trainer voice data, so it's designed to have the right energy and tone for motivation. It helps mark key moments, like hitting a milestone, celebrates accomplishments, and offers recognition for your effort afterwards. It's like having a smart, personalized coach on your wrist. Other quick watchOS updates include proactive notifications, where the watch intelligently interprets ambient noise levels to automatically adjust call and notification volume so you don't miss things in loud places or blast notifications in quiet ones. And a new wrist flip gesture. Just a quick flip of the wrist can dismiss notifications, silence incoming calls, timers, or alarms, or close the smart stack. It's another convenient interaction alongside Double Tap. Oh, and the Notes app finally comes to Apple Watch, which is great for quickly saving or accessing important notes on the go. Developers also get new APIs, like improved location APIs, so the Smart Stack can, say, automatically show a ski slopes widget when you arrive at a resort, or they can build custom control center controls for their apps.
Got it. Okay, moving from the wrist to the living room with tvOS 26, what's new there?
tvOS also gets the new liquid glass design. Icons look more vibrant with that layered design and subtle highlights. Playback controls now sort of gently refract the content playing underneath, which is a nice touch. Profiles for Apple TV can now be set to automatically display right when the TV wakes up, making it faster for everyone in the house to jump into their own profile.
That's convenient.
And Apple Music Sing gets enhanced for group fun. Friends in the room can easily join in using their iPhones as microphones. They can add songs to the queue collaboratively, react with on-screen emoji. It just generally makes group karaoke sessions more interactive and fun. There's also a new API for automatic sign linking for music apps.
Sounds like fun. Okay, next up, the macOS Tahoe. It sounds like it probably inherits many of the features we've already discussed for iOS.
It definitely does. A lot of the new capabilities show up here, too. Things like the messages enhancements backgrounds, screening tools, those image playground options, live translation integrated into communication apps. That's all included. The design elevates iconic macOS elements with refined icons and that liquid glass material. And a big visual change. The menu bar becomes completely transparent. The sources say this makes the display feel larger, more expansive, letting your content stretch edge to edge. You also get more customization options for which controls appear right in the menu bar versus the control center. And you can even pull in controls from your iPhone apps directly, thanks to iPhone mirroring. And folder customization finally arrives on Mac, letting you change folder colors, add symbols or emoji, and importantly, these customizations sync across all your devices.
Nice. What about continuity features, those things that bridge the Mac and iPhone experience?
A big one here is live activities coming to Mac. They now appear discreetly right in the menu bar, letting you track things like an Uber Eats order or flight status at a glance. And clicking on that live activity in the menu bar instantly opens the relevant app directly in iPhone mirroring on Mac. So you can take action, maybe message your driver without even picking up your phone. And the full phone app itself comes to Mac. This brings all your familiar contacts, recents, and voicemails over, and includes all those great updates we talked about for iOS, like Hold Assist, call screening, and live translation, right on your Mac.
Having Hold Assist on the Mac could be huge for work calls. Okay, Shortcuts and Spotlight are major productivity tools on the Mac. Are there updates there?
Oh, huge updates for both. Really significant. Shortcuts can now run automatically. You can trigger them based on time of day or specific actions you take, like saving a file to a particular folder or connecting an external display. Much more powerful automation.
Yeah.
And with Apple Intelligence integrated, they introduce intelligent actions. These let you create shortcuts that are far more powerful than before. You get dedicated actions for things like the new writing tools or image playground, and you can build shortcuts that tap directly into Apple Intelligence models, whether it's the on-device one, private cloud compute for more complex tasks, or even tapping into ChatGPT for a response and then use that output in the rest of your shortcut workflow. Really opens things up. And Spotlight. Wow. The sources call this its biggest update ever. It's redesigned to be the absolute fastest way to browse your content on your Mac. It has significantly improved intelligent ranking of results, and it surfaces contextually aware suggestions based on your routines or even the document you're currently working on.
Contextually aware.
Yeah. Plus, it can now launch iPhone apps directly via iPhone mirroring. So you could type Headspace into Spotlight and launch the iPhone app right there on your Mac screen. But crucially, it introduces system and app actions. This allows you to perform hundreds of actions, things like creating a calendar event, starting an audio recording, sending an email, converting a file format directly from the Spotlight search bar without opening the app.
Wow.
And this is made even faster with quick keys. These are short character sequences you can type, like SM to instantly bring up a send message action, or AR for add reminder. It aims to make common tasks incredibly quick. Developers can make their apps and specific actions discoverable here using the App Intents API.
That sounds like a truly massive workflow change for power users on the Mac. Speeding everything up. What about gaming on the Mac?
The new Games app we mentioned comes to Mac too, centralizing everything. There's also a new game overlay. You can access this mid-game, usually with a controller click, and it lets you quickly adjust system settings, maybe tweak audio or chat with friends, and send game invites without fully leaving your game.
That's handy.
And Metal 4, the graphics API, brings next-gen rendering technologies. The sources list things like freedom, triangulation, denoising, FSR, AAA basically, advanced techniques that support demanding new titles. They mention Crimson Desert and Enzo as examples that can really leverage Apple Silicon and the Neural Engine for stunning visuals, dynamic effects, and enhanced AI performance in games. This translates directly into games looking incredibly realistic and running super smoothly on modern Macs.
Okay, impressive. Let's shift dimensions now and talk visionOS 26. It's already spatial, so what's new there? How does it evolve?
visionOS definitely benefits from the core Apple Intelligence updates like Image Playground and the expanded language support. A big user-facing change is that widgets become truly spatial.
How so?
They're not confined to a window. They seamlessly integrate into your physical space around you. They remain persistent right where you place them, and they're highly customizable. You can adjust the fringing, color, depth. Apple's bringing new spatial widgets for clock, music, and photos to showcase this. App space memory is a welcome addition too. It remembers where you placed your various app windows in your space, even after you restart Vision Pro. No more rearranging every time. Spatial scenes get enhanced. Remember that 3D effect you could generate from 2D photos? It now uses a new AI process, leveraging computational depth from multiple perspectives to make those images feel even more lifelike. The sources say it lets you go right into them and look around, more immersive. Spatial browsing gets improvements too, allowing for exploring richer web content with support for articles and inline fluid elements. Developers like Zillow can now embed spatial scenes directly into their own apps. Personas, which are still technically in beta, get dramatic enhancements to realism. The sources mention significantly more detailed hair, eyelashes, and complexions, and they're still created privately on device in just minutes. There's also a new capability for shared experiences. This allows multiple people wearing Vision Pros in the same physical room to view content together, like watching movies, sports games, or collaborate in real time within enterprise apps like 3D Live from Dassault System.
That shared experience sounds key. Any other specific enterprise features called out for Vision Pro?
Yes, a few key ones. There's support for common pooling devices, making it easier for organizations to share Vision Pro units among employees. There's secure user data saving to an iPhone, which allows for quick setup for guest users. It saves their eye and hand tracking data, prescription lens info, accessibility settings, all securely linked to their iPhone so they don't have to reconfigure the device every single time they borrow it. And a protected content API. This allows developers to mark specific content within an app as up for your eyes only, ensuring that only users with explicit granted access can actually see sensitive materials like medical records or confidential business forecasts, even in shared environments. They also announce support for spatial accessories. These are input devices that enable tracking in 6 degrees of freedom, 60OF, opening up possibilities beyond hand tracking.
Like what?
Like the Logitech Muse. It's described as a tool for 3D drawing, modeling, and collaboration in apps like Spatial Analog, and they also added support for the PlayStation VR2 Sense controller, which should enable more engaging and traditional gaming experiences in titles like Pickle Pro.
Okay, interesting inputs. What about creating and playing back spatial content?
There's a new Adobe app for visionOS powered by their Premiere engine that lets you edit and create spatial video directly within Vision Pro. No need to offload it.
Oh, nice.
There's also native playback support for various immersive video formats, 180 degree, 360 degree, and wide field of view video from popular cameras like GoPro, Insta360, and Canon, so you can relive those moments really immersively. And a potentially huge one for the web. Developers can now embed 3D objects directly into standard web pages. Using Safari on Vision Pro, you can view these objects with real depth and dimension right on the page, and even pull them out into your physical space for a closer look. The sources explicitly call this the beginning of the spatial web.
The spatial web.
Wow.
Yeah. And just for fun, there's a spectacular new Jupiter environment you can immerse yourself in, letting you virtually stand on its moon, Amalthea, and watch the giant storms swirl below. Incredible. Okay, finally, let's talk about the device that often feels like it bridges the iPhone and Mac, iPadOS 26. The sources describe this one as a giant release and a giant leap forward in productivity. Big claims.
They are big claims, but honestly, based on the details, it sounds like it might live up to it this time. It gets the new design language naturally. It gets all the Apple Intelligence features like live translation, those supercharged shortcuts tapping into the AI models, on-device, cloud, ChatGPT. It also includes many of the great features we've already covered for iOS and macOS, the messages enhancements, backgrounds polls, Apple Cache, typing indicators, screening, the new phone app with Hold Assist, the new games app with challenges. It inherits a lot.
Okay, but what's the giant leap forward? What's the big iPad-specific thing?
The big story, the huge leap forward the sources highlight, is a completely new windowing system. This system is designed from the ground up specifically for the iPad's touch-first nature and its unique form factor, and it directly addresses many long-standing user requests for better, more flexible multitasking. You get a collection of powerful, yet hopefully intuitive features to control, arrange, and switch between app windows.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How does this new windowing system actually work in practice? What does it feel like?
Well, it starts simple. Apps still open full screen by default, but now there's a subtle grab handle in the bottom right corner. You just grab that and can fluidly resize the app into a floating window of almost any size.
Loading windows on iPad.
Exactly. And these windows remember their size and position when you reopen them. The pointer interaction is more precise now, especially around window edges for resizing. Hovering over the familiar red, yellow, green buttons in the top left expands them slightly into clear, close, minimize controls, and tapping the app icon brings them back if they auto-hide. Makes discovery easier. You can easily tile windows side by side just by sort of flipping them towards the screen edges. And when they're tiled, a gripper appears in the middle, letting you resize both windows at once. You can even do corner tiling.
Nice.
You can now open more windows simultaneously than before, and crucially, you can quickly see all your open windows with Expose. Just swipe up from the bottom edge and hold for a second, all your windows spread out neatly, and you just tap the one you need. Very Mac-like, but adapted for touch.
Expose on iPad.
There's also a new menu bar on iPad. It's always available from the top edge, offering clear, labeled menu options, making it much easier to find features within apps quickly without hunting through buttons. And a simple swipe home, followed by another quick swipe up, minimizes everything if you just want to start fresh. Importantly, this new system works across all modern iPad models, Pro, Air, the standard iPad, even the Mini, and it integrates seamlessly with Stage Manager and external displays, too.
That really does sound like it finally brings the kind of flexible, powerful multitasking that many users have been asking for on iPad for years. Much more like a Mac, but still uniquely iPad. What about file management? Anything new in the Files app?
Yes, the Files app is described as being supercharged. The list view is updated to show more details at a glance. You can finally resize columns, and folders are collapsible for better organization. Folder customization, those custom colors and icons we talked about for macOS that syncs across devices, comes to Files on iPad too. You can now choose the default app to open specific file types with, which is a small but incredibly useful quality of life improvement.
Yes.
And crucially, you can drag any folder directly from the Files app sidebar to your dock. When you tap that folder icon in the dock, it instantly expands to show its contents, giving you incredibly quick access to your most frequently used project folders or files. And maybe saving the best for last here for some people, a beloved Mac app Preview comes to iPad as its own dedicated app.
Review on iPad. Really?
Really, offering all those powerful tools for viewing and editing PDFs, Apple Pencil markup, autofill for forms, annotation, highlighting, as well as image editing, rotation, and export tools. A proper preview app.
That's huge. Any other specific iPadOS details worth mentioning?
A couple of things on the audio side. Voice isolation, which helps block out background noise during calls, is now available in any app that records audio, not just communication apps. So great for voice memos or video recording. And studio quality vocals with AirPods uses clever processing when you're recording with AirPods to improve the tonal balance and timbre of your voice, making it sound more authentic and professional. You can also now use AirPods for remote recording control. Just press and hold the stem to start or stop a recording in apps like voice memos or even camera.
Oh, that's neat.
The Journal app on iPad gains full Apple Pencil support for handwritten entries. And there's a new Read Pen feature introduced, apparently for creating traditional calligraphy styles with the pencil. So, yeah, a lot packed into iPadOS 26.
It certainly sounds like it. Now, beyond all these features that we as users will directly interact with, the sources also detail significant updates aimed at developers, right? Tools for them to actually leverage these new capabilities.
Absolutely. That's always a key part of these announcements.
Like giving them access to that Apple intelligence we started with.
Exactly. That foundation model framework is the big one there. It gives them that direct pipeline to the on-device LLM so they can build unique intelligent features right into their own apps without needing to invent the core AI themselves. For the new Liquid Glass design, Apple's providing tools like the Icon Composer app. This helps developers easily create those new layered icons that interact beautifully with the liquid glass material across different styles and appearances, makes adopting the new look easier. Xcode, which is the main developer environment, gets what they're calling generative intelligence.
Okay.
This means things like more accurate predictive code completion, because it can now look at a larger context within their programming projects, and an expanded Swift Assist. Swift Assist now lets developers interact with their code using natural language right inside Xcode. And crucially, it supports integrating advanced coding models, including ChatGPT, to help with tasks like writing code snippets, generating unit tests, documenting functions, iterating on UI designs, and even getting suggestions for fixing errors.
So AI helping developers build apps faster and better, and making their apps integrate into all those new system features we discussed, like Spotlight Actions or Visual Intelligence.
Precisely. The App Intents API is really key here. It's the framework that lets developers make specific search capabilities from their apps available within that new visual intelligence experience on the iPhone screen. It also ensures their apps and specific actions within their apps are discoverable and usable directly within the new Spotlight on Mac and iPad, and available for users to build into those powerful new shortcuts. On Mac, Metal 4 brings those next-gen rendering technologies for game developers. And on visionOS, APIs like the Protected Content API enable those new enterprise security features, while the Spatial accessory support opens up completely new input possibilities for visionOS apps. It's about giving developers the hooks they need.
Got it. So after hearing about this mountain of new capabilities across every single platform, the big question is, when can people actually get their hands on all this? What's the timeline?
Yeah, the timeline outlined in the sources is pretty standard for Apple. The new OS releases iOS 26, iPadOS 26, watchOS 26, macOS Tahoe, tvOS 26, visionOS 26 were all available as developer betas immediately following the announcement. The public betas, for those brave enough to try early versions, are slated to arrive next month.
Okay.
And then the general availability for all users, the final polished versions, will be this fall, presumably fall 2026, based on that version 26 naming powering devices through the coming year.
Wow. Okay, that really was a deep dive. I mean, from intelligence woven throughout the entire system, influencing everything from, screening phone calls to managing files, all the way to a design language that literally changes how elements look, feel, and respond on screen. These updates cover a huge amount of ground across every single platform.
It really is comprehensive. It's not just one or two things. It touches fundamental interactions like how you multitask on an iPad, how you communicate on your iPhone, how you get work done on your Mac, all while trying to make the technology feel more personal, more understanding, and maybe more intuitive through this combination of AI and the new design philosophy.
So as you, our listener, hear all this, try to process it. What does this all really mean for you day to day, trying to make sense of it?
Well, I think it suggests a future where your devices are becoming, or aiming to become, more than just passive tools you command. They're evolving into more proactive, understanding, and hopefully more seamless extensions of your life, adapting visually, adapting functionally to your needs in ways they maybe couldn't quite before, and the potential, especially for developers, to build this kind of tailored intelligence directly into their apps using that foundation model framework. Plus, the groundwork being laid for concepts like the spatial web we saw hinted at in visionOS. It truly hints at capabilities and experiences we're probably just starting to imagine right now.
Yeah, and here's where it gets really interesting for me. Thinking about that foundation model framework, putting powerful on-device AI directly into the hands of any developer, and those visionOS updates hinting at a spatial web. Just ask yourself, beyond all these specific features we've detailed today, what completely new type of app or experience, something that maybe felt impossible before, are you most curious to see someone build in this new era of intelligence and design? What previously impossible thing might actually become real now?
Indeed, that's the exciting part. The sources don't just announce features for today, they paint a picture of these foundational building blocks being laid for potentially a significantly different way of interacting with our technology tomorrow, setting the stage for whatever comes next in their products.
A lot to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.